Hello and welcome to the Trenton 365 show. I'm Jacque Howard, your host. And for those of you who are watching over one of the other outlets, maybe Trenton 365 Performing Arts or the library boxes of Trenton pages, you will know this name, Neisha Kelly. Neisha has not only been a part of Trenton 365 for the last several years, helping out in the studio and for on-air production, and for when we are having events pre-COVID, when we were allowed to go out and do some things and see some live events. Neisha was there, and I was out supporting her in her endeavors as well. She's going to be the guest today, and she's going to be keeping us updated on some of the things that she's been up to. For those of you who don't recall, Neisha is a very interesting woman from the standpoint of her involvement in the nonprofit organization, Dress for Success, Mercer County. In addition to that, she's a performing artist of spoken word, and she's also a bit of a fashion icon if some folks had their way about it. So without any further waiting, hello, Neisha. It's so nice to see you.
Hello, Jacque. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Basically, dealing with everything that everyone else is, being more indoors, being at home a bit more, not being able to go out and do a lot of the things that I
Yeah,
used to do. Being an extrovert, sometimes it's tough, when you don't get those opportunities and chances to be able to go out and see people face to
yeah.
face. But I'm doing what I can. And what about yourself?
Well, I've been doing good. It's crazy. When it all first started, it was like, you had to be in the house by a certain time. You had to wear a mask everywhere you go. And like you, I don't know if I'm ready to say I'm an extrovert, but it's kind of hard social wise. Like if I go out now and I have my mask on, I see somebody, I want to hug them because I'm a hugger.
Yep.
But you can't. We got to touch elbows and move on. So it's like, wow, what a year it's been. Who knew this pandemic was going to do all this? Wow. And I said, this might be our new normal. I hope not, but yeah. But I've
Well,
been doing pretty good pre-COVID. I've been creating more, writing more, just doing more. Because I feel like this is time we're never going to get back. We may never. I mean, hopefully this doesn't ever happen again. But the time that we have to like really hone in on our skills and our crafts to get better at things, this is the perfect time for that.
mm,
Because
mm.
you're not going anywhere. There's not too many places you can go. So you got to focus on you. And I've been doing a lot of reflecting and introspection. Really working on myself.
And
So
I like that you're so open about that, and because oftentimes when we talk, especially people of color, and I'm sure this happens in other cultures as well, we have a tendency to give off that facade as if everything is great all the time, and if not, hey, I'm gonna give it to God, or just kind of not really being honest and truthful. I think to ourselves all the time, but also to the other people, especially those around us the most who love and care for us. And I appreciate you saying that, and I'm thankful that you're able to take the time to do that, because there's also people like me who sometimes don't know when to stop, and then we have to get to a certain place
I hear
where
that too sometimes.
something else has to take place for us to be like, oh, you probably are doing a bit too much, etc. So with that being said, all the things with COVID that have happened have definitely limited how many live performances were going to be taking place, gatherings of people, etc. And as
Yes.
we transition and talk about, you as a performing artist, what's it been like for you, and how have you personally held up during the COVID time as far as not being able to perform?
Well, you know, it's been hard because, like, for me, I don't know about some people, but I've worked through this whole pandemic. Whether it was working remotely or working in the office, I've worked this whole time. And I'm not saying that like it's like I'm complaining, but it's hard when you go into work. We got to do the social distancing, and we're already a small unit, and now we have to space out, and it's scary. Some people have experienced having COVID as I had, and it scared me. Not, I wasn't scared when I was having the symptoms. I was scared when they told me it was COVID. I was like, what? I'm like, if I would have knew that before, I would have been like panicking and You know, by the time my taste and smell had gone, most of my symptoms had gone. The only reason I knew I had it was because I didn't have any taste or smell. I couldn't smell anything, I couldn't taste anything. And sure enough, when I took the test the first time, it came back positive. And I was like, whoa, I got to really be careful. You know, because I wasn't really going out the house but to work. I'm like, where'd it come from? But, you know, so that was scary in a sense that it could have been a lot worse, you know, and it wasn't. And I just feel blessed that I was able to go through that and then get through that, you know. I think taking the test was worse than what I had.
Well, I didn't know
Yeah,
that you had tested positive for COVID-19. So, wow. I wish I would have known
scared me.
and been able to, offer up, whatever support I could have. But thanks
Well,
again,
I
for
got
sharing.
lucky. You know what? I called down to City Hall. I forget what I needed from them. Oh, I was asking them, do they know where I could get masks from? And they brought me masks. They brought me like a meal, like every day at 3 o'clock on the dot. They'd show up with a nice warm meal, and I didn't. I took it, you know, and I enjoyed it because it was good. I mean, I didn't feel deserving of it.
Well, I'm glad you said that, but I wouldn't say you're not deserving, because you are. But in addition to that, that's part of what being a resident, means. This is what your taxes pay for, these types of things, these types of programs, and the social aspect as well.
Right.
Interesting, you lead right into talking about that. I don't need to know your political affiliation, but have you noticed any particular change in environment of how people feel about politics or whatever?
I think a lot of people are just getting fed up and sick of certain things. Not, I guess the most thing that I can say that they're most fed up about is there's no change. There's no sign of change, it seems. You know, and that's worrisome, and that's like hard to deal with because we should be changing, we should be transitioning, and we're not. We're stagnated. You know, everybody's like stuck. No one knows which way to go. And COVID is taking over the news and taking over politics, and, like, but there's no change coming. We have to have change because the change you have to grow. So, it feels like we're pretty stagnated at this point. And like you said, no matter what your affiliation is, it's across the board. People are fed up of things not changing, needs not being met, their voices not being heard. Water cooler talk. I hear it all. Yeah.
Now, does that provide material for you when you're performing spoken word?
Yes, because I feel like so many people are affected by this, but a lot of people sweep it under the rug. Like like when it first started, people were in ICU. They were hooked up to ventilators, or they didn't have enough ventilators, or and like people were terrified of this. I don't want to say the boogeyman, but everybody's scared, and it's like I said before, we're stagnated, we're frozen, and for a while them numbers kept going up, 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 and it didn't seem like it was plateauing at all, and a lot of people, I don't want to say they succumb to this in vain, but we need to do something about this. Like, it's been, I won't even say it's been a year because it hasn't been a year yet, but it feels like it has been. Because since March till now, we still dealing with this, and it seems like a lot of talk and a lot of hot air, but no action.
Yeah, I'm biting my tongue over here.
I am too.
Because so much of this I think could have been avoided if it was handled different by a different type of leadership.
Right.
So I do want to transition.
Okay.
I do want to transition and talk about some of the other stuff that you're doing that you're making an impact on. And
Well,
it's your hold on,
I'll
hold on. I
say
want to
this.
talk about your time with Dress for Success. That's where I want to go next.
I love, I love them, Jacque. I love Dress for Success. Melissa Tenzer, I'm sorry, my headphones came out. Melissa Tenzer, it's so family oriented. I can go in there, and even if I'm not doing like a promotional thing or whatever, I'm at home,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And for a while, I struggled with interacting with other women. If they come off with strong personalities, I get intimidated and feel inferior. But with them, I felt like there were no big eyes and little U's. Everybody wanted to help everybody, and that's what drew me in. Is that it was like I am my sister's keeper, basically. We've been having our PW. I call it Power Women's Group, but it's called Professional Women's Group. We've been having them every month virtually, and I love it. It's always a good time. It's a shame we can't see each other face to face, but you know. And one of the things I was working on before the pandemic happened was they invited me to help out on a billboard. And it was pretty cool. I met other women from the other programs like Designing Your Future and the other Dress for Success programs. And we did the photo shoot and that kind of thing. But I just like the camaraderie and like to see people on different levels in life relating without it being like competition. Because a lot of people think we get a bunch of women together, everybody's trying to be better than this one and outdoing that one. But it's not like that. It really is. And I'm not just saying that to be cliche. It's really true. Like Dress for Success has brought me a mighty long way from when I first stepped into their organization. And I don't feel like in the professional sense, I don't feel intimidated like before, like where I would put a woman here and I'd be here. No, we're equal. We have our equal struggles. We have our equal triumphs, but we're there for each other. I'm sorry, me and headphones just don't go on.
That's okay. But and I appreciate you sharing that because I was going to ask you if how you're into fashion, I'm into fashion, etc. The way we look, it's directly tied to how we feel sometimes, etc.
Yes,
And it's something that we care about. It's something that we're
right.
passionate about in our own way. And
Mm-hmm.
I know when when COVID hit and I knew I was going to be not working, I was,
Right.
chose to let my hair grow out. And
Mm-hmm.
upon letting my hair grow out, um, I've been questioned as to why am I doing that? Why aren't I shaving, etc.
Right.
And
But
I said it would be difficult and almost rude for me to be
mm-hmm.
supportive of and encouraging to women to just be themselves, to do everything they want to do. If they choose to be natural, let's accept them as they are natural. They want to shave their heads or whatever they want to do, or
Mm-hmm.
and it was almost like an awakening for me. It was like, well, you know what? Yeah, you've gone through a bunch of different hairstyles before. You just haven't had your hair just like be its thing for like well over a decade. Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then on
Mm-hmm.
top of that, no one else is doing it. And comedian Dan Regan says that's because there's a reason why, but I think I can pull it off. So what I'm saying is hey, for you guys who are out there, look, man, no one's got a perfect hairline. I know it needs to be cleaned up. It's a little woofy, but if you want a little in the middle, just let it go, man. Just see how it
Do your
feels.
thing.
It's very liberating. And I encourage women if they want to do it too. If that's up to you, if that's how you're feeling now, let's do it. We're in a new normal. What better time
Yes.
to set the new norms
Mm-hmm.
than when we're in the new normal?
Yep. Exactly. And I agree with you. Like, as far as my hair, I'm usually natural all the time. But every now and again, I decide to not be natural and wear a different style. Try braids, try sewing, But I say to myself, like, I'm doing this because I want to do it. I want this look. It's not like I'm trying to impress anybody or do what everybody else is doing. This is what I feel like doing. I'm the same way about the way I dress. Like people always say to me, "Why do you always dress up?" I'm like, "It's not dressing up to me. It's getting dressed." And they're like, "You gotta wear that though. Like you always gotta have the heels on. You always look. This is me, and this is who I am, and this is what I like." So I accept it. You don't have to, but I accept it. So, so I try, and like you said, I try to keep that going because I have a daughter. You know, she's grown now, but I have to show her that you got to be comfortable being who you are, and whatever that means. You know, as long as you're not hurting anybody and you being respectful of other people in their position, then they need to be respectful of yours. You know, so that's how I had to look at it. So, but fashion, you know, we could go on.
Yes.
I love Pinterest. I'll just say that because I can't go shopping like I want to, so I got to get creative with what I already have. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah.
All right,
So that's one of my creative outlets.
got you. Well, listen, I do want to make sure that everyone knows that you and I are going to commit to writing those books, our individual
Right.
books. And we're partnering, and I'm starting mine on December 12th, which is my
Okay.
birthday. But it's up to you if you want to start. But I just want to make sure that you and I start at approximately the same time, same month, and that we work together talking about our experiences and writing the book in partnership with Trisha Williams of
Oh,
R.E.A.C.H.Fiction.com.
yeah. R.E.A.C.H.
Really.
Yes. And you know what? You talk about publicity. You know, there's no time like the present. This year, I've been deciding to move in silence. So anything that I've been doing has been, I haven't announced it. I just do what I got to do. And then someone else may announce it or have me on their page, you know? And it feels good because I don't want to be like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I don't do it. So I rather I move in silence and then they see what I do, you know? And plus, I always say you never know who you are inspiring.
That's it.
So,
Well,
you know?
Neisha Kelly, it's been awesome catching up with you. I'm glad that you're happy, that you're healthy, and you look fabulous as usual. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Little animal print, but yeah, we'll be chatting soon. And remember, just stay safe and enjoy this holiday season and your time with your families. Okay.
You as well, Jacque.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Folks, you've been listening and watching the Trenton 365 show. I'm your host, Jacque Howard. Make sure you remember it's always about justice, peace, and humility.